Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, and welcome to my fourth weekly reading recap thing, a week in books I think I'm calling it. So yeah, good week of reading. I said last week that it was an abnormal week of reading. I think I read like 600 pages or something like that and finished probably more than 600. Whatever. They're mass market paperbacks that I read, so the pages were a bit shorter. I think I read somewhere in the ballpark of 800 pages, I think, because I finished those three books. If you didn't see that video, go ahead and check it out. There's a theme in that video, much as there is in this one, but maybe I have lied when I said I would never read that much, because I have read more this week. So let's jump into it. Didn't finish any books, funnily enough, though, so maybe that's a hint as to what I'm reading. If you follow me on Goodreads, obviously you know what I'm reading, and you stay up to date with everything. But yeah, before we get into it, just want to say a quick shout out to everyone watching here, everyone liking, commenting, subscribing. These videos have been so fun to make, and let's definitely keep it up. If you're new here, consider subscribing, and that's that. Yeah, we'll get off my high horse now. But yeah, books I'm currently reading. Some big ones here. Let's start with the one I'm most of the way through. Not most. So, there's my bookmark. About 60% of the way through Brandon Sanderson's Wind and Truth. That puts me at about page 812. Yeah, if you saw my last video, it's called Wind and Truth First Impressions. I had sort of a mixed bag of feelings about it. Or no, I'm misremembering. I did not, because before then I had just read the prologue in the first chapter, so I didn't really know what to think. Since digging into it, I still don't really know what to think. It has some of the best moments in the Stormlight Archive. Granted, there are seldom of those, but it also has a lot of the worst moments in the 5-book series I've read up until this point. I'll probably make a full video on it, not like a why I hate Brandon Sanderson video, but just a review on the book, because it is so vast, so big. I think it deserves its own video, but I can keep these updates light and these reading updates. But yeah, I guess just in like the Spark Notes edition of my review up until this point of this book is, I think it suffers from definitely a lot of modernisms in the language in which the characters speak, which is odd. It is a modern fantasy book, yes, but it is set in the year like 1160 AD. So it has up until this point, the first 4 books have had a very medieval, knights in shining armor, giant swords, mythical creatures sort of air to it, and now with these modernisms, it does tend to pull you out of the story more often than not. Yeah, I guess that's all I'll say about that. It does sort of meander a bit. Yeah, the Stormlight books have always sort of meandered, and they're long, so they're gonna feel long. But in the first couple of books, usually the point of views were limited to one point of view per chapter, which kept things simple in your mind, and then you could like switch when you started a new chapter to whose point of view it was from. Now there are, the first book there was 3 point of views, the 3 main characters. Obviously that has divulged into side characters becoming more main characters and things of that nature. Now in this book, I gotta say there's 30 point of views, maybe, of characters in the book, and they switch like in the chapters. it's well known when it switches a huge break in the text, so you know that there's a switching point of view coming, but you got to sort of keep tabs on where everyone is in the story at the same time, which is fine. But it is just something to know, I guess, before you read it. It also doesn't really, there are some moments that don't really read like a Stormlight book. Like some things are just like, why is that? Like, that doesn't sound like a Stormlight archive book. And no, I'm not talking about like the relationship between Renard and Rlain. I actually find it quite endearing and quite sweet. I'm not like up in arms that there's a homosexual relationship. There was one in the second book, I believe, and I didn't really mind. I don't really mind here either. I don't really care the sexual orientation. The whole cast could be gay. I didn't really care. But some of like the more provocative sex scenes, there's like a lot more of them in here, which was odd because there was never any of that in the first 4 books. And provocative, I mean like in the sense of comparing it to the previous 4 books. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have more thoughts when I finish the book. I didn't like it like at all after the first 200 pages, but now I am actually quite liking it. Now that I'm getting in the meat and potatoes of it, I actually like it. It's definitely not my favorite. It's definitely my least favorite, but it's not a bad book per se. I like it. I'll see what happens at the end of the story. Yeah, I actually watched a vlog, like a review on this book when I was in my hate era of it, like 200 pages in, and they said it was non-spoiler, and then they spoiled the whole ending. So, yeah, I don't know. Screw me, I guess. Whatever. But yeah, Wind and Truth, still going strong, 812 pages in. Don't know if I'll finish it this week. At this rate, I probably will. But I'm just trying to take it, I'm trying to take it slow, but then I just like sit down and read, and then boom, an hour goes by and I'm 45 pages in, and then I'll listen to the audiobook, and yeah, you sort of chip through it if it's one of the focus of your hobbies. So yeah, Wind and Truth, it's good. Next up, I'm only just into this one. This is American Prometheus by Kai Bird. Kai Bird and Martin J. Sherwin. It's actually funny, I'm reading both these at once. If you saw one of my first videos, 5 big books I want to read this year, these are the 2 biggest books that I want to read this year, and I just so happened to be reading them at the beginning of the year. I picked this up because the audiobook version of it on Libby popped up and my hold was up, so I got it. I have the audiobook for 3 weeks. This book doesn't look, it looks intimidating, but there's only the book is only 600 pages of like story, and then however much this is like scientific notes and research. I ain't reading that. So yeah, it's a 600 page book. Saying that though, margins are not on your side, tiny text, but it is interesting. I watched the movie Oppenheimer last year, obviously, it came out in 2024, won a whole bunch of awards. So yeah, this book has been good. I've only read like the preface and the first chapter detailing his early childhood, and you could sort of see where he got some of his more, I don't know, extreme views may not be it, but with some of his more communistic views as a child. If this topic interests you at all, I think this book is very well written. From what I have read of it, it's not been too much, 30 or 40 pages maybe, so yeah, it's good. It's one of my first, there we go, pieces of nonfiction I've read. I've read some in the past. I read Backyard Adventurer by Bo Miles. read Band of Brothers by Stephen Ambrose. I read another diary from that time from one of the soldiers. So this is only my 4th piece of nonfiction I think I've read in my reading era, and I like it. So we'll see how it continues on. Like I said, not many thoughts to be had on it because it's just early on. So maybe stick around for next week's video if I chip away at it, or if I just buckle up and finish Wind and Truth. I'm sort of taking this one slow too. Each chapter is more episodic, is that a word? So you can read one chapter and put it down for a couple of days and pick it back up, and yeah. Alrighty, that's current read. Sorry, we're sitting at 11 minutes already, damn. Let's talk book pickups. We'll talk about a tragic book pickup first. If you follow me on Goodreads, you know that I have been wanting to, I've been wanting to read Marcel Proust's In Search of Lost Time for a bit now. I was so excited. I ordered on eBay the full 6-set box set of it like 3 weeks ago. Got it for a pretty good, $35 I think, with shipping, shipped to my house, and I was like, cool, that'll be here. I was so excited. I worked from home the day it was supposed to get here, so I could bring it in before the rain. It got delivered. Look outside, there's no package there. I'm like, that's weird. I'll go check the mailbox, maybe it's smaller than I think. And this is what I got instead. This is The Lady Knows Best by Susanna Craig. It is like I don't really know what it is. It seems to be, it is French in the realm, the characters are French, so I can't knock them for that, but it is sort of like a French romance, sort of hot and heavy book. Cool. I don't have very many of those, obviously, so I'll add it to the collection, but that isn't what I paid $35 for. Luckily, I got a refund, and I'm sort of annoyed they didn't just send me the books I wanted. But I guess the person who ordered this is probably more annoyed that they got a 6-book set of In Search of Lost Time by Marcel Proust. Can't hate him for that. So, will I ever read this? Maybe. Maybe I'll read it for a video or something, see what's what. But yeah, it says the Goad's Guide to Misconduct. It has a lady in a dress with a feather on the front, so I don't know. I was definitely more mad when I picked up this book, but since they've refunded me, I'm just gonna order it off Amazon. And the second book pickup this week, which was actually yesterday's, I picked up Osamu Dazai's, if that's how you say it. Osamu Dazai's No Longer Human. This is a post-World War II Japanese sort of loneliness dystopian novel, I think. I've seen it all over TikTok, people reading this, and as I want to get into the works of Anton Chekhov, the works of Chekhov and Dostoevsky and Proust and things of that nature, with it being more one character focused, and I'll call it my sad boy era with those books. I thought this would be a good book to add to the collection. I've read a couple of translated Japanese works of fiction in the past, and they've been very good. I believe one of them made it in my top 10 books of last year. Actually, I think it did. It was Mieko Kawakami's All the Lovers in the Night. That one was very good. And in a similar realm of like following one character. They don't really know what they're doing in their life. There's sort of this dark air around them, and they try to pull themselves out. So I sort of like that story, funnily enough. And I figured I'd get this a try. I picked it up from Barnes & Noble, so yeah, I had to take a loan out to buy this book. But I looked online everywhere and they didn't have it for cheaper, so I was like, whatever. Just don't tell me how much it is. And the guy was like, okay. So yeah, very different book pickups this week. We'll have to see. So yeah, I guess that was my weekly reading wrap up. Working through 2 monster books here in Wind and Truth and American Prometheus. I'll definitely watch the movie again. That was probably one of the best movies I've ever seen. If you haven't seen Oppenheimer, it won a whole bunch of awards. Go give it a shot. And yeah, I think that's it. Appreciate everyone watching up until this point. Sorry this one was longer for some reason. I guess I had some things to say. But if you are watching up until this point and you didn't watch yesterday's video, definitely check it out. Spoilers, if you can see the books on this top shelf here, not these ones. Well, this is hard. Holy shit. Not these ones, but the ones below it. If you know, you know. Stay tuned for Friday's video. I'll be detailing all of those. There's 21 of them in total. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. And I'll see you in that video. I appreciate everyone watching. Give it a like if you liked it. Consider subscribing if you're new. And we'll catch you in the next one. Thanks, guys.